Hey everyone, Corey from Aquarium Co-op. Hopefully you just were hanging out with everyone in the Steamfod Aquatics stream, which happened at about 5, or started at 5 Pacific time, and I'm just following up because people were wanting more. So I'm just hanging out is what I'm doing. Been thinking some crazy things. I've been thinking about maybe buying some like aquarium decor, like fake castles, and thought about doing a Ninja Turtle tank for the turtles. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm going down that path, but it's something different. So, I thought about, like, I've always wanted since I was really new to the hobby. They've got like that 4 foot long sunken ship. I have no idea why I want it so bad. The thing's like $400, but yeah. So, hoping you guys got questions. I'm just kind of hanging out. My wife's at work. Already fed all my fish, and I should be, proofing some of the videos and stuff like that, but I thought, why not? Oof, Fish in a Corner. I was watching my previous live stream, back-to-back live streams. Oof, that's too much of Corey, I'll tell you what. I'm coming in quiet, still quiet. What is going on with this? I don't know why. Let's see here. I'm scrolling down. Is it quiet for everyone? I literally turned it up. I cranked this thing up after people said last week they didn't like it, or not that they didn't like it, but that it was having some problems. I'm looking at my microphone settings right now. Let's see here. Alright, I turned it up a little bit more. We'll see. Hopefully that's not like unbearable now, but let's see. Dave Z's Fish Room said, I bought some plants from your store and had to wait and found a free bottle of fertilizer in the box. Very cool. Yeah, so, all my employees are basically instructed that if we've made a mistake somehow, to make it up to where you're not angry when you get the box. So I'm glad that you like that, because I just know I'd be disappointed if, like, I order a plant, and really what happens is this for you guys, is, like, we enter all in these plants, but then, like, if they get planted wrong in the pot, by the time we sell it, so let's say like, a week later, it's still in inventory and it's still there, but we don't want to ship it to you. So we'd rather say like, hey, there's going to be a delay, and then not sell that plant and wait till we have better ones ready to send you, and then we just make it up to you. Because the goal literally is try to have 0 dissatisfied customers. And so if we look at a plant and we aren't satisfied, we're not going to ship it out. We'd rather delay it, and we hope you guys understand, and then we try to make it up for you. And then we try and fix little things to make sure that doesn't happen again. And that just takes more capacity, or, oh, who knew that one was just going to get damaged. So we try to make it so, if we've got 20 in inventory on the website, we actually have 30 or 40 in stock. And so that we have the least amount of outages possible. But every once in a while, the stars align with, we've got a few bad ones. Someone walks in and buys 12 of them for their tank. And then inventory is still correct, but then we go to ship it the next morning. We're going, wait a second. Yeah, they're there, but it's not there. So, alrighty. Trying to donate, what's going on? Are you trying to donate to, like, the Amazon Research Center, Chris? Is that what you're trying to do? Where are you trying to donate to? Can you get a PayPal link to Super Chat? I don't think so. I think it has to be credit card only, but I don't know. I've only ever seen the credit card option. But, Joel is getting old. I agree with that. I turned it up for you, though, so. You're probably getting a little more background noise, but as long as it's okay, it's okay. Will a Nubius die if it's planted in gravel? No, it won't die. Well, I gotta grab a pen for this demonstration. So if this is your Nubius, and you've got the leaves coming up the top, and you've got the roots coming down, so long as the rhizome itself doesn't get buried under the gravel, it should be able to live. Now, I actually think they grow much better if they're up on a rock or a piece of wood, but technically you can have the roots grow down into the gravel, and it can live, and it can grow that way. I just think it grows better, and it prefers to be attached to something. But if that rhizome's below, it's a goner. Ooh, the fish like baked cookies today? I'd eat some more of those cookies. Why am I wearing these fabulously white headphones? Because I end up wearing these all day long, mostly because I'm listening to audio for the videos, right? Like I'm making sure that the audio comes across clear, making sure that we don't have any jarring sounds besides my door opening that sounds like a velociraptor. And then I was listening to Bob's live stream, and then I started my own, and so naturally I just had them on, and I don't even notice whether they're on or not on anymore, and because if I have them off, I get no audio, so that's why I've got. And they're super cheap, by the way. Those are like the $20 Amazon headphones, and if you need headphones, they're wicked good for $20. So Dan Gavioli says it is working with the $2 super chat. Confirmed, Dan. Thank you. When medicating in a quarantine tank for a week, is it a good idea to perform water changes? So what I do is I don't really feed them while they're in quarantine, so that way I don't have to change water, because I'm trying to preserve the meds and use the least amount of meds possible, also create the least amount of stress possible. And for me, fish are just coming into my care. They might have been shipped in from another country, they might be from another state, but they're already like hitting new water, and then if I'm changing a bunch of water, I view that as stressful. And really what I'm trying to do is just let them kind of sit there, and there's already meds in the water, so if they have parasites and stuff, they might have an upset stomach and things like that. So the least amount of stress while still medicating them, that's my goal. And I find it works pretty well for me. That being said, like if I measured ammonia, I would change water in a heartbeat. I wouldn't not do it, but I try to make it a situation where I don't have to do it. Why isn't my Endler colony exploding? I have, also in a 10-gallon, a guppy colony is going nuts, but the Endlers aren't reproducing as fast. Is that normal? It could be. You gotta have a lot of cover, and then know that Endlers, because they don't have big tails, they're a lot faster. They can chase down their own fry, and because they swim around more, I feel like they want to eat more. So you kind of need to just really feed them and put in obstacles, lots of plants and stuff, so that they can't chase the fry down as much. That's been my experience with breeding lots of Endlers. So, thoughts on a green spotted puffer with a figure 8 puffer and a 40-gallon brackish. I want to move the GSP out of my saltwater tank because my clown is picking on him. Do you already have the green spotted puffer? Like, if you do, I would try it and see how it goes, but I'm almost never a fan of two puffers together, and then, like, with just the number 2, one's likely to kind of dominate the other one. And I'm going to turn this down. I can see my peaks getting really high, so I'm going to try and turn that down a little bit, make sure audio is okay. But if you already own both, part of me is like, we're taking a fish from saltwater to brackish. And what I'm trying to say is, you could test it out. If it doesn't work, split them back up. But then you got to go back to saltwater. I'm a little bit worried about that. Could it be done? Yes, totally. It could be done. But if it's not working out, what's the backup plan? And really we don't want to take like a, what if the green spotted puffer gets the brunt of the attack, is kind of damaged, and then we're trying to take it back to the saltwater tank where it's harder to medicate and that type of thing. And so maybe what I would do, I think I'd put like a divider in the tank, have one on each side, and just see if they're like constantly at each other, like they want to fight, or if they're totally cool with each other. Then I might lift that divider out on a day that I'm not at work and kind of just watch them all day and hopefully can monitor if anything goes too crazy. So that's the way I would approach that. Wow, this is the biggest super chat I've ever gotten. Nair 1969 with a $100 super chat. Dang, that is baller status. So I better deliver the extra good answer to the question here, or at least I hope. Have you ever used hydrogen peroxide for algae control? Well, you're in luck. Yes, I have. So my preferred method, so it depends on what kind of algae and how we're treating it, but usually I'm using it for blackbeard algae or hair algae. And what I like to do is I like to put it into a spray bottle, like a normal just spray bottle, and I just pour all the hydrogen peroxide in there, and then I tighten it up real tight, and then I just spray it on stuff. So if I had it like on my back glass, I would drain the water level down real low, spray it, and just get everything drenched in it, and let that sit for 5, 10, 15 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes, like a long time, right? If it's just like glass and decor, long time. Then I would fill up the aquarium, and what it does, it turns like white or red and kind of gets, you definitely notice a color change. And for some reason, fish that will never touch blackbeard algae love to eat blackbeard algae when it's dying. I don't know why, but all of a sudden you got tetras picking at it, and they would never touch the live stuff. So I don't know. But like on a Nubius or something like that, if it's on a piece of wood, I take that out and I spray it down, and I'll let that sit for 10 minutes. The goal is to keep it, like, don't let it dry out, but let that hydrogen peroxide do as much work as it can. And then, you know, the hardest part with hydrogen peroxide is if it's on your gravel and stuff like that. You'd have to drain the water level really low and you could spray everything, but you're never going to be able to get it all if it's on the gravel. But I have used it. I myself find it to work well. I'm hesitant to tell everyone, like, yeah, just use insane amounts. But so far, you know, knock on wood, I've never had any kind of overdosing or anything like that. And I know some discus people actually add hydrogen peroxide to the water if they need to get oxygen back in the water in a quick manner. But yeah, so I can say I won't say we use it pretty regularly at the store, and especially like I've got these black mats, or not mats, but racks in the plant tanks, and because we're putting in so much light and nutrients and CO2 and everything, if we sell out a bunch of plants and there's extra nutrients left in there and it just grows that algae, the easiest way for us is to take that out, spray it with hydrogen peroxide, let it sit for 10 minutes, rinse it off, put it back in, boom, we're done. Algae's dead, and we move on. So, but we only get to do that maybe once a month, you know, like out of 6 plant tanks. Well, there's like 10 plant tanks now, but we can do like 1 a month because we don't ever get that low typically, but we try to. If we see an opening, we'll use that and try and do it. So hopefully that answered your question. If you have more questions, just follow up in the chat, and I'll try and spot them. That's the hardest part, is spotting them. So, but thank you again. That's a giant super chat. I'll make sure I didn't miss any others while answering that one. Got to pull up the right screen here. Hydrogen peroxide in a saltwater tank for algae? I have no idea when it comes to saltwater. Yeah, I literally have no idea. I have no idea if the chemical reaction is going to be different. So, yeah. JW Aquariums, Corey is the man. I've been watching, you know, you show up in my feed quite a bit, JW Aquariums. Even just live streaming a ton. I got a little piece of advice for you for $2. Get some more lighting. Like right now, I got lighting that's beaming on me. There's so much lighting, and what it does, it cleans up your video. So if I don't turn on the lights, all the video and stuff like that gets grainy because the cameras struggle to focus. And if you can put a lot of light on it, then the camera's not struggling as hard, and it'll really crisp up your image. So even just a general light bulb, like if you just had a light bulb like behind the camera that was just casting onto your face and stuff, super duper easy. A normal desk lamp could make a wonder of difference. So, by the way, I'm not saying that to be mean or anything. I'm just saying, like, is something I've noticed, you know, because I check in on a lot of people's stuff, and I'm going, oh yeah, you could probably get a lot of bang for your buck by just making a simple tweak like that. Let's see here. I need a taco cat. Taco hat, or taco cat spelled backwards is taco cat. I need a cat named Taco. Horses are expensive, says, thanks for all the help lately. And what they mean by that is I've got another channel, you know, that's super small, right? Like, there's like 500 or 600 subscribers. I mean, there might be more people in this chat right now than on my other channel. Yeah, there's almost 500 people watching right now. That's almost more than my other channel combined. But I kind of talk about business, and I'm trying to help people specifically with their business, even stuff I have no idea about, like, you know, this is a horse business, that type of thing. And but not everything, some things carry over to every business, you know. And so we've been talking back and forth through email a little bit, and I appreciate the super chat. And yeah, so horses are expensive. You sent me on a path today that basically made me spend all day optimizing my page insights, because I noticed it slipped. We had some apps that we had uninstalled, and it left code and was slowing down our load time. And then I learned a trick, actually, which maybe I'll tell you on the business side or through an email, that I added more apps, or I added more functionality to the website and because it forced another thing to load below the fold, it increased my time by a lot. I mean, like my load time in a good way. So that's crazy. But, you know, way too technical for the fish channel. But if you're into business stuff, you can check it out. It's you know, I guess Nightbot's linking to it. But Corey McElroy, if you just search that up, that's my name. And it can get you there. We do a live stream once a week there. Nick K, you're the man, Corey. $5 super chat. Wish I could send more. You're an inspiration and provide awesome information. I always look forward to your videos and streams. Well, good. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow I think I've got an unboxing, and then I think Thursday is my avatar tank, and I've got another species video on Friday. I haven't scheduled anything yet for Saturday. What else do I got on the horizon? I know on tomorrow's Tuesday, yes. I'm spending the whole day at koi.com. Going to shoot a bunch of koi videos, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know what else is on the horizon, but yeah, thank you for the super chats, everyone. Corey's live here at the shop. Yep, Allie's holding down the fort for me so I can be here. So that's part of the thing you guys don't know. Normally I'd be working in the store on a Monday. Not the entire day typically, but normally I go to the store. Today I didn't have to, so maybe that's why. I don't know why all of a sudden I was like, I could live stream today. I think it's because I got all the ordering done earlier in the day, and normally at this time of night I'd just be mad typing, getting all the orders in to come in this week. So, yeah. Maybe that'll become a thing eventually. Let's see here. Does raising the temp in a guppy tank help have more male fry? I don't know. I've never read any studies on that, Michael. Which Michael's Fish Room has a channel, Big Breeding Fish Room. I've never read any studies on it. You can skew, like in turtles, you can skew male-female ratio with temp, and then they've proven it with like some of the cremensis and some of the pistogrammas. But I would think guppies are studied pretty well, and I haven't read any studies on it. And I study guppies a lot. It'll definitely speed up how fast they grow, and it'll burn out your guppies faster because they grow faster. But I've never seen a study on it. So, and I haven't, you know, like I've done a little bit of testing, and I think I still get the same ratio no matter what I do. So, nothing conclusive for me. Maggie Smith says, for the home show, do you prefer already edited footage or raw clips? So my favorite way to get it for me, and Jimmy's editing it now, but for me was unedited, with you doing some talking, and then so worst case scenario, like let's say you got a dog that's barking in the background nonstop or something, or the worst case scenario is that the radio is on, because then we can't use the audio for sure because it's a copyright claim. But we would just cut the audio and put some music to it. In a best case scenario, you do your talking, and then we can choose like the interesting parts and clean it up into, depending on what we're doing. Like now we're trying to do a little bit of theme for the episodes. Like you notice the last one's kind of a kids one, and maybe, you know, so we can. I guess what I'm trying to get to is I don't want you to spend like 4 hours editing something, and then we just take the chop saw to it and get the parts we need, and then you're like, oh, he totally, you know, mangled what I did. So yeah. Brianna Raker, $1 super chat. Thank you. I'm trying to figure out what your avatar is. It kind of looks like a bunny to me, but I don't know. Let's see here. By the way, I think we figured out the. I think we figured out that the camera for the Murphy cam, it was the flash thing. A lot of people have been tweaking that setting that says allow flash, and it works for them now. So, you know, that's if you've been having trouble. I think one of the viewers figured it out. We put it up on there, and yeah, it's gonna be good because once I get that extra camera going. Yeah, it'll be nice. Ooh, speaking of which, I finally I've used this all the time when I go traveling. This is a lens that you can put on your phone, right? And so it does like a wide angle thing. That's how everyone was seeing like that rainbow fish at the live stream we did at the store. Because I was using this and it created a crazy wide angle. Well, if you take off the wide-angle lens, it becomes a macro lens. And I used that for the first time ever this week because you guys asked for it, so I did it. And so the vinegar eel culturing video is coming out, and I had to use a macro lens to get those things because they are crazy small. So it was kind of fun though. I enjoy like when something works, you're like, yeah, the thing that's supposed to do the thing did its thing. Because so often I'm like, okay, I bought this piece of equipment, let's do it, and like, oh geez, that really is not up to par. So it's really nice when that does happen. Brianna Rakar said, $5 super chat. Pond snail explosion in my freshwater community tank. What is the best way I can get rid of them? Help! So, I like a slow approach. And so what that means is cut the food back a little bit, or maybe switch to frozen foods, things that leave less debris around, and the snails will starve out. And so basically what has to happen is they can only populate to how much food there is. And if there's a lot of food, there's going to be a lot of snails. So if we go in there and we just kill all the snails, that didn't solve the fact that there must be a lot of food there for them. The other things you can do, you might be able to gravel vac a little more, or just general clean up a little more. You could use a puffer or a loach or something like that to kill them, or assassin snails. But know that, we want to try and solve the problem. And if we solve the problem, which is the food source, it will solve the problem we think we have, and that is the snails. And snails are very good for most aquariums, and it's just in moderation, right? Like, I don't know what size that aquarium is, but let's say it's a 20-gallon. You've got 5 snails this big. That's probably super duper healthy. And also what you can find is maybe you've got like 500 baby snails, but the food will only support 5 snails that are this big. So eventually it's going to self-level out in the population anyway. So those are my tips for snail control. And if I got more parameters and more things like that, I can tailor it a bit more. Cruz Schroeder says, I have an open 10-gallon next to my shrimp breeding tanks. Any ideas for a breeding colony in that tank? So I have a 10-gallon next to my shrimp breeding tanks. And a breeding colony. With 10 gallons, I would do either A, more shrimp, B, endlers, or C, if you're trying to do profit, watch my Friday video. But basically my tip is, I think a lot of money can be made off of assassin snails. And, but I'm trying to think of something else I could really colony breed in there. You could do guppies, but you're just not going to do a mass quantity. Trying to think of anything else that I could raise up. Because I could breed a lot of things in there, but I'd have another tank to raise them. My brain's not working. I don't know why. But I can't think of anything else. Oh, well, if you wanted to be like a slave to water changes, you could pull off breeding some plecos in there, like dwarf claro plecos. It could be done, but it doesn't make sense to do it. Let's see here. Damien's Jungle with the $2 super chat. Well, thank you. Let's see here. What are some good tank mates for mollies? Well, mollies are a little boisterous. They get a little big in hard water. But in general, I think most people end up keeping them with some hardier tetras, like black neon tetras, some bigger stuff, maybe some rasboras. Trying to think. You could do it with like some, trying to think of some cichlids that would benefit from eating some of their babies but not beat on them. Maybe like Geophagus, even though it's a soft water species and that's a hard water species, that could work, if you rode the line. Let's see. Paul Salazar says, I just purchased an epistle from your store today. I don't remember the name, but for $10, it was well worth it. My guess is this, Paul. The only epistle I think we had in our store was an epistogramma McMaster-I. And it's because we ordered a bunch and they only sent one. And I kind of wanted it to find a good home in a timely manner because it was only one. Like if I had a group of 20 of them, they would have been more than just $10. But what are you going to do with one besides enjoy it, which you can? Kyle's Wild World, $5 super chat. Corey, in ideal aquarium conditions, how fast do aqua puffers grow? So this is going to assume you're also feeding the maximum amount. I mean, I think 1 inch a month is not crazy, So a lot of times you're going, okay, 2 inches, yeah, but so by the time you've had it 2 months, it's 4 inches, and the time you've had it 4 months, it could be 6 inches, and then it's going to slow down. I think at about the 10-inch mark, so you're going to be in about 10 months to a year. You've got a foot long, and then after that, it's more like every 6 months you're going to get like half an inch to an inch, but they can jump up pretty close, but. Optimal means you would have already dewormed and got all that stuff done, and so there's nothing limiting its growth. But they can grow pretty good if you're doing it real quick. What's the favorite food for dragon puffers? Mine's really picky. They're all wild caught. We find ours really like frozen shrimp, like cocktail shrimp, and then live foods like zebra danios. And it feeds a lot better if the water has a lot of tannins in it. So, yeah. I don't know what I'm saying no about, but we'll see. Hey, Corey and everyone. Hope everyone's having an amazing day. Make sure you hit the like button. Yeah, let's do that. How many likes are we at? How many people are we at? Who's having a good time? 559 people. I'm going to say at least 6 of you are having a good time. At least. Maybe as many as 10. Let's be real. Let's see here. Oh, I didn't see any likes, though. Someone will tell me. Corey, my wife has a 10-gallon guppy fry grow out with cherry shrimp and shrimplets in it. Also, should I be worried about the guppies preying on them? So, Gordon, they definitely could prey on them, but I can grow a lot of shrimp and a lot of guppies together. It's going to matter how much you feed and things like that and how much cover there is. I don't fear it because I enjoy the interaction between the two. I think they both thrive. Like, all that guppy poop makes good shrimp food and stuff like that. I actually find they do better in a combo as opposed to not. So, what type of fish do you recommend for a 200-gallon tank? Ooh, I'd say find what you love. So the way I do tanks, I typically like to do species tanks. So what does that mean? That means like here's one tank, one species, maybe 2 species. The bigger the tank, the more I do. But like in my 800-gallon, I'm only planning on basically 2 species. And then there might be a few oddballs in there, but I like to limit it because I like bigger groups of fewer fish, or fewer species, I guess. What fish can I keep with my Pictus catfish? Lots of other big but peaceful stuff. So maybe like blood parrots, Tenopoma leaf fish, silver dollars, tinfoil barbs, Oscars. What else is big enough? Maybe a lot of rainbow fish as long as they're already big. Yeah, I'm sure there's more, but that's all I can think of at the top of my head. How many guppies could I put in a 300-gallon aquarium? We have an empty one sitting around. I'm thinking guppies would be ideal. So Hannah, you would be my hero because I do love doing that. I know that in 700 gallons, I was able to pull out 3,000 guppies. So by math, I would say you could have at least 1,000, but I would tell you put in like 20 males and like 40 females, so like 60 fish, and then like a few months later you'll have an insane amount. You won't even be able to count them all, but it'll be super fun. You've previously mentioned a fertilizer comparison spreadsheet. I think you mentioned it was probably Paul Martin, but a Google search hasn't revealed it. Do I have the right name? You do have the right name. All you got to do is go into like the Aquarium Co-op Facebook page. He posted it afterwards, after that live stream. It's sitting there. You could probably ask for it in the Tank Talk group because Paul Martin is a moderator on the Tank Talk Facebook group. I don't have the link for it anymore. It's a Google spreadsheet though, but I don't have it. Let me check. Let me make sure it's not in my bookmarks, but I think I don't have it. If I do have it right now, I will totally link it. Oh wait, I might have found it. By the way, if the stream just ended, I'm not very smart because I just clicked on this thing instead. But let's try this. I'm going to link it right here, and maybe that's the right one. And now I'm going to hit the back button and hope that everything's okay. Oh no. Oh geez, I hope it's coming back. Okay, it's coming back. Sorry about that. My bad. But hopefully you got the spreadsheet now. Let's see here. Chris Wheel says, yeah, for some reason you're not telling me anything now, even when I contribute prom? When you contribute prom? I don't know what that means, buddy. Is there an option to enhance water flow in my canister filter? External pump in between the hose or something? Is there such stuff available that would help? The only thing I know of is it's called a flow accelerator, and I don't know who's still selling them. But I would look on like Bulk Reef Supply. I would look at Dr. Foster and Smith. I don't remember what company was making it, but basically it was the output and the way it directed the flow. It didn't actually make it be like more gallons per hour, but it made the flow stronger, if that makes any sense. So let's see here. What is the minimum size tank to keep pea puffers? Are they schooling fish or do they prefer to be alone? They could be in groups. They could also be solo. For a solo specimen, I think 5 gallon is a great tank. If you're going to do a group, I would say 3 or more. A group being of 3, do a 10 gallon. You can always go larger though. While avoiding Demasoni in a 10 level of pestering, once you said a 20 tall is okay for a show male convict, what kind of diet would you feed? What would a biotope setting look like? I have no idea what the biotope setting would look like, and I would just feed a lot of frozen foods with pellets once a week. Yeah. I'm not going to go too far into that because I feel like we're spending a lot of time on something that a lot of people shouldn't do, so yeah, just because something can be done doesn't mean it's a good idea. You mentioned that you ship out fish. I have no idea how to order on your website. You must have watched a real old video because we stopped shipping fish like 8 months ago or something like that. So unfortunately, we're not shipping any fish, just plants and dry goods and snails, things like that. When did I start taking care of fish? Probably, how old was I? I was like 21, so like 13 years ago. Apparently some guy came to my local fish store and asked for a price for 100 guppies. Now that sounds like a fun time. Yeah, that does. People ask me to send them 100 guppies all the time, and here's what kind of blows my mind. They want me to send them 100 guppies, and they think it'll be cheaper. Like, it would be more expensive to ship that many guppies to do it correctly, because typically with guppies, I hand pack like each one, right? So it would be more work to ship 100 than it would be to ship 3. I'm having a hard time with the Pondagetons in my tank. Mid-light with Eco-Complete and lots of fish food. Leaves are browning and melting away. Any suggestions? How long have you had those Pondagetons, Van the Man? Because they do die off a couple times a year, because where they come from the wild, it dries out, and then they just come back. So they typically bloom with flowers, and then they die back, and then they come back, assuming you had enough fertilizer and stuff going on there so they can actually repair and that type of thing. Watch the video with pond and cleaning out the garage, trying to get the same thing with my 2 75 gallons and a 56. Watch the video with the pond and cleaning out the garage. Alright, I'm trying to think. My brain can't reference what the same thing is, unfortunately. What kind of tank mates would I recommend for a wolf eel or an eel in general? Really depends on the type of eel. A lot of eels are lovable, live with a lot of things that won't beat on them, and then there's some that are brutal. So, kind of depends. Refrigerator or recirculating keeper for black worms? Refrigerator is way, way, way easier. Recirculating keeper, if you're just keeping them, refrigerator. If you want to breed them, you can't do it in the refrigerator. So, if it's just keeping them, fridge every time. Have I ever made a pea puffer care video? I don't think I have, but next time I'm in the store, maybe I will. Well, not next time, but next time shooting care videos, maybe I will. And will I ever sell pond snails or ram's horn snails on the website? I might, Matt. I'm still feeling out the water. Like, people are a little bit adverse to us shipping them not in water, but snails ship best in paper towel, not in water. And then they assume they're dead because the snails kind of go to the bathroom on the paper towel, and it stinks a little bit. And so people, even though it like says in the description, like put them in water, they'll crawl around and they're alive. They all, not always, but a lot of people are sending an email and they say, hey, your snails are already dead. And I'm like, oh, well, have you put them in water? And they're like, no, they're dead. And I'm like, well, please put them in water and, give them a few hours. If they don't come out, then we'll totally take care of you. And then usually like 10 minutes later, like, yeah, they're totally alive and swimming around. They're not swimming, crawling around. And I go, yeah, yep. So I'm working out the kinks into how do we make it so that email doesn't happen. Because if I just launched 5 different types of snails, that's just 5 times as many emails hitting me. So Marie Peaks first tune into a live stream. Love the co-op. Wow. Is it just because I'm on a Monday, or are you new to us, or, what's the deal, Marie? Any reason why I would have all female guppies drop then? So I'm going to treat this question like I don't know that Michael's already well versed, but the first thing to know is guppies, when they come out, they're all going to look like female, and then they would have to get sexually mature to kind of develop into males. I'm assuming that Michael already knows that, and so I don't know why that, let's say you raise them all up and they're all this big and they're still all female. That I don't know. I can't answer that for you. I don't know. But if for some reason you didn't know that they all come out as female and then raise up as, then they mature into males and stuff, then that's the reason. Making a new pond. Do I need to cycle it or just throw a few feeders? Is it like a pond for goldfish or koi? Is it going to be tropical fish? I would, if I was going to cycle a pond and it was a big pond, I would start with some plants, like water hyacinth and stuff like that, and get them to grow. When you can make a water hyacinth double in size, it's ready for fish. That's how I do it. If they're dying off, it's a sign it's too cold and it's not ready. Those type of thing. Or that type of thing. What schooling fish would you recommend would work with 8 clown loaches, 6 roseline sharks, 3 plecos, 4 angels, and a catfish? I would tell you to go with Congo tetras. Yep, so Michael says he knows, I knew you knew, but, for others that didn't know. Did I find out if the crab that I can't pronounce, scientific name, mentioned in your recent import video is truly freshwater? I'm having trouble finding good info on the web. Everything that was told to me is true freshwater by the people importing it and stuff like that, so that's all I've got for you. Let's see here. Ellie says, can you keep bettas with goldfish? It's not a good idea. Typically, you've got a betta that wants to be at about 80 and a goldfish that wants to be more at like 72. And then as the goldfish gets bigger, it's a likelihood that it could swallow it, maybe even choke on it. So in general, that's why it's not recommended for them to be together. Best cleanup crew for a 10-gallon aquarium? Shrimp and snails. Can Daphnia just establish without intervention in an outdoor pond or tank? Yeah, they kind of just show up sometimes. And not only Daphnia, but some of the like Cyclops, and there's some other little things like that can just show up. I don't know if it's like bird poop. It doesn't make any sense how you could just have like nowhere nearby have it and then it shows up. I don't know how it makes its way there. But yeah, I definitely have witnessed that myself. How old was I when I opened my store? Was it terrifying? Well, let's see. It was scary, yes. I've been open for 5 years, so I was 29? Yeah, because I'm 34 now. And yeah, it was scary, for sure. I mean, you invest lots of money, lots of time, and by the time you open the store to and building it, I was completely out of money at home. My wife was supporting us, and really it's like, okay, this needs to work because, there's only so many more months I can go without bringing in any money. And it was about like, I think month 5, I paid myself $500 for the month, and then I think it was like month 7, I did another $500, and then eventually it was like $500 every month, and then it became $1,000 every month. But, put that in comparison of working 100 hours a week, and then, averaging that out of like 100 hours only got me $125 or whatever it is. But no joke, for like the first 2 years, I was working for like $2 an hour. If you actually looked at how much time was being spent versus the money I was taking home. Hey Corey, I ordered some micro sword online about 3 months ago, and some leaves are melting in yellow. They're in a 40 breeder with 2 Phoenix Stingrays. Any suggestion on to make them super green? So, one, you could watch my nutrient deficiency video, but I think it's missing some nitrogen. You could use some root tabs, or depending on the substrate and stuff like that, like if you had Eco Complete or something, a lot of dosing of the water column. I'm assuming you're dosing water column fertilizers, but if you're only using something like Seachem, you might not be getting enough nitrogen in it because it's a pretty weak nitrogen source, which you'd need to buy Seachem nitrogen, or you could buy like my Easy Green or something like that. But that's where I would look. I would look for, I think it sounds like a nitrogen deficiency, and with 2 Phoenix Stingrays on there, they're going to be pretty hungry for some plant food. Does adding crushed coral make the water smell like salt or rotten and skyrocket the pH to 8.5 or so? I just had that problem. I'm not sure if it's the coral or the wood I just added. So I bet you it's a combination. So pH going up will be crushed coral. If it went up really fast, you might not have rinsed it well enough. You want to get all the loose debris off it because it shouldn't go up that quickly. And rotten smell, I've never had that from crushed coral. I mean, maybe if you bought crushed coral that was like live for salt water and you killed off all that bacteria, maybe. Wood could have a rotten smell to it though, if you know, it's like stuff you found, or you know. But it's probably a combination of the two things. I would say water changes and getting your tank just kind of back into the mix, so to speak. Time for bed. We'll see you later, Michael. Yeah, it's late over there, isn't it? When can you sex young guppies? Well, there's people that can do it like on day 10. I'm not that good. I think it's more at the like 6 to 8 week mark. You can start really seeing their gonopodiums develop on most of them. Are microworms a parasite? No, microworms are just a fish food, really. You know, I mean that's what we use them for, but no, they don't attach themselves to fish or anything like that, so no worries there for microworms. Unseen Haze with the $1 super chat. Thank you. Making sure I didn't miss any others. That always reminds me to check in. What plants do I keep with your goldfish in the 125? I think it's a 125. Do you know anything about jungle val with goldfish? Love all the info on your channel. Yep, I've definitely kept val with goldfish. Kept Crinum calamastratum with them, Anubiuses, Java ferns, and African ferns. All those kind of thicker leafed, hardier plants are a good choice. Mostly the trick is fertilizing well, putting decent light on there, and if you can let the plants get established before the goldfish start picking at them, it can work really well. I have great luck with Java moss, but every once in a while you get a goldfish that has a sweet tooth for it, and it'll just nibble it all up. So you got to be a little careful with that one. What was my first fish and what got me started in the hobby? My buddy had a planted tank, 72-gallon Bowfront tank, and I was at his house and it was all planted, and I thought that was super cool. Asked him how much work it was, said not that much. And then like 3 weeks later, I went and got a tank, and it was a 65-gallon, and we went home, we set it up. I spent like $900 or $1,000 because I got a canister filter, I got the twin tube T8 bulb, I got the glass tops, I got the canopy, I got the stand, the tank itself, the Python kit. Like, I went crazy, right? And then the first fish we put in were 6 penguin tetras, or the hockey stick tetra, either one, whatever you want to call it. Is it best to take my betta out of his tank to control his temp, or should I leave him in? I would leave him in there, but I would work on, figuring out why that temperature's fluctuating. But yeah, getting it more stable will definitely help. And I wouldn't move them around, though, because that's pretty stressful. Can hardly wait until the mini pond chat. Yep, this Sunday, I keep watching. I installed like a fan behind me because Big Steen and everyone else is like, oh, it's so hot in here with all these lights. And now it's been cold for the last few days, so that's why I'm wearing a coat. Like, I'm like, oh, brr, it's kind of cold in here. But I'm excited. I've been watching like a hawk, just get out there and play in the ponds. I put some water in some of the ponds yesterday, and so as part of the remodel that's still going on, I had a power outlet put in the front of our house on the outside because we had no power in the front of the house, and we might put a decorative like little above ground pond up there as well. And so if I do that, I'm going to do like here's a whole how to and make something look halfway decent, and options and those types of things. I don't know why, but I just thought someone said, yes, burritos are awful. But it said, yes, Red Burro, that's awful. My burrito hate is strong, even though I eat burritos. They're fine. Let's see. Check out my shrimp and guppy channel, Red Dragon, on the way. Roma Aquatics, $2 super chat. Yeah, I've got guppies shipping out tomorrow from Guppy Train. Kaylee's in the house. Kaylee Thurmond. She ships all you guys' stuff. Well, I won't say all, but 95% of it is going through Kaylee. But we hired some help. Gonna get her some help. And so that'll be a couple of people. But, So yeah, Maggie, you can thank her for the extra sticker, the bigger sticker you got earlier. Corey, what do I do if my figure 8 puffer is not eating snails? I need to trim his beak. What do I do? Yep, that's a bad position to be in. You need to research on how you're going to basically put him under. There's 2 ways. MS222, which if you're going to do that, you got to track that down. You got to offset. It's going to change the pH of the water, and you got to offset that with some baking soda. Or there's clove oil, and you can read different things on what strengths and stuff like that, but you got to basically get them to roll over, work quick, wake them back up, and you can use like cuticle scissors or even fingernail clippers, that type of thing, and just do a lot of research, watch videos until you're comfortable to attempt it. And know this, a lot of people are afraid to do it. If you do nothing, it's for sure going to die long term. If you do something, even if you screw it up and it dies, it still had a better chance to make it than doing nothing. And there's a whole chance of you do your research right, you do it right, and it lives a happily ever after. So, is it possible to have high pH value with low TDS? Definitely, yes. You can. You can definitely have that. There's almost essentially no correlation there. Let's see. I visited Guppy Train this past weekend. And the Red Dragon guppies that are reserved for you are beautiful. Good. I'm a little jelly. You got to see him before I got to see him. Corey's brain is bending such he reads what he wants to see. I do that all the time. That's why you'll see these awkward pauses, because I'll be like, no, that's not what they're saying. Brain, stop it. Oh, man. Let's see. Check your Guppy Train order. Mine got delayed until June. Well, Roma, I got emailed yesterday. So these guppies that I ordered back in like December or like January. So, like, it's just they have a hard time. So this is like no joke, right? When I showed those guppies that I've been getting from Guppy Train, like clearly their sales like went through the roof, because like everyone and their mom is ordering guppies from Guppy Train now. And so the supplier they're using, like obviously any of the strains I got, people wanted, they bought, and it kind of put a run on the market, so to speak. And so now they're trying to play catch up, which is a good thing for them. I'm super glad that they are getting that business, because I don't want to ship guppies. But that's kind of what happened. And so, and I've been super patient, because to me, I don't really care. It's like, oh, if they come next month, if they come yesterday, like I know I'll get them. So I'm not worried about it, and I'm enjoying. I actually like to space it out because I order them all pretty soon, and it's kind of like Christmas keeps trickling in. So, is eating Taco Bell and drinking Mountain Dew a requirement of being a fish keeper? Because I'm thinking yes. Well, there's certain things. So if you're gonna eat Taco Bell, you can only have Baja Blast. That is a fact. That's a rule. We can't break that rule. But you don't have to do those things to be a fish keeper. But to be a good fish keeper, yes, you do have to drink Mountain Dew and eat tacos. But just to be a fish keeper, would you set up your store for the fish rack work for 20 longs? It would work. It would just be a terrible display and horrible for a store. But yes, it could work. What do I think about those bug bites by Fluval? I like them. There's some, I think, up here, because I was feeding my tanks right behind me. I like them quite a bit. We sold a ton, and maybe when I'm done the live stream, I'll email and be like, hey, can I buy this 5-gallon bucket at a time? Because I want to feed a lot of it. Would I ever consider expanding into oxalotls? No. Like, I've bred them, I've played with them, But axolotl people are not fish people. They're completely different, and it's a different skill set. And people get into axolotls, and they have no idea about water quality, and it's very labor intensive to get someone to keep an axolotl correctly. So, I have no plans on selling any. Let's see. How is a male convict not recommended in a 20 tall? I should have mentioned that my tank is 2 inches shorter and 2 inches deeper. How is a male convict not recommended? Just because it gets to be a fish that's this big in 20 gallons and most people can't handle it? So that's why I don't recommend it all the time. I mean, if you're really good, like I can keep one in my fish room because it's auto water changing every day and things like that. And if you, if you do the same thing, it can work. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, if you got video problems, man, my brain is fried today because my brain stopped me because I said, I was thinking if you have video problems, I feel bad for you, son. I was gonna start quoting Jay-Z there. My brain. When you code all day, which is what I did, I spent all day coding for the website. My brain is fried after I do that, so maybe I know that for next time. Don't code all day, then go live. Let's see here. Hey, I'm a shrimp guy, but I have bred and sold thousands of axolotls. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, for me to get back into axolotls, and I tell this to all my people that are chasing down rare things, I'd have to have the glow axolotls. And I'm not talking GFP gene. Those are so 10 years ago. I'm talking like the pinks and the purples that literally have the glow like gene in them, just like glow fish. I would play with some of those because I think there'd be big money in it, and I haven't done it yet. I'm a big sucker for something I haven't done yet, but like making more GFPs, leucistics, normals, like I've done it, so why I'm not like, oh man, I really want to do it again. But yeah. Although I was just thinking, I was like, maybe axolotls would be fun to do outside. I wonder if I could overwinter them, because I know they can go into the fridge. Like, if you're going to heal up where they lose a limb or something like that, or they got an infection that you want to deal with. But then I'm thinking, well, I got to make sure they don't get too warm in the summer, and that is going to be the harder part. So. Let's see here. Oh, I got to ban this guy. We'll just... Oh, he's already on it. Make sure you ban that guy, Joel. Let's see. That's right, Nick K's got the Jay-Z lyrics going. Are rainbow fish okay with neon tetras, or do they get too big for them? Like the bigger rainbows, I think they're going to like dominate the food. So long term, it's going to be hard on the rainbows. I don't think that they're going to necessarily go and kill them or anything, but it's not a good pairing kind of in like ecosystem-wise. Now, like dwarf neon rainbows, or like the Wapoga red lasers, or pseudomogils, all those would work okay with neons in my experience. How do I get my guppies to breed? Well, they're already breeding. The chances are you just need more cover. And every 30 days or so, they're going to release babies. And if you have the right conditions set up, they should be able to raise up in that tank with them, unless there's too many predators. So yeah. Been using Seachem Flourish for about 30 days, and my guppy's really colored up. Is it the water hardness? Well, there's not a lot of hardness in the Seachem Flourish. It could be that if the plants are growing better, they're feeling more secure, or if the guppies were younger, the time is just coloring up more. I mean, I suppose you're adding trace elements in there too if you're really missing some of that stuff, but I think it's it's a coincidence, I guess. Are there any fish that just won't eat fry? I'm raising Cory Cat fry for profit in a 29, and even with 100 fry, it feels empty. What about cherry shrimp? Would they hurt very small fry? So cherry shrimp should be okay with the Cory Cats. Basically, what you're trying to ask me, are there fish that you could have in that tank that will still allow the Cory Cats to raise up? And I can think of some. I would bet you most Plecostomus, Autosynclus. I think you'd be fine with, it depends on how small. Like if they're like just hatched out yesterday, we got a problem. But otherwise, I think you could do hatchet fish because they're going to stay at the top the whole time and have pretty small mouths. Yeah, I think it comes down to how small are we talking. If we're talking, 4 days out of the egg, not a lot, really. I find that rabbit snails are eating too much, and concurrence, the shrimp's feeding too much. They'll also make more dejections also. Man, this is a lot of words I don't use normally. So better the very small snails coming like parasites. Hold on, my brain is processing the words. So concurrence, the shrimp feeding too much. They'll also make more dejections also. Better the very small snails coming like parasites. So I'm going to deduce what you're trying to say is rabbit snails, being a live-bearing snail, they're breeding like crazy, and in conjunction with those shrimp are creating a lot of waste, and so you view the smaller snails like parasites. I suppose so. I would just remove some of those snails and sell them off. A lot of people want rabbit snails. Oh man, that was the perfect opportunity to just answer that question with I concur. Dang it. Have I ever considered placing rocks that leach trace minerals plants that need them anyway? Yeah, but the problem I run into is it only does it for a certain amount of time, and then the available elements that can dissolve are mostly dissolved, and then you're left with the stuff that's going to dissolve much slower. So you might get like 3 months of like, wow, I got a lot of trace elements, and then you get the rest of the life of that rock of barely anything dissolving in. And so I think that's why we haven't really gone to that as a long-term solution. It's the same reason why crushed coral works a lot better than a piece of coral itself. Let's see here. Need help about my convicts. My female is hiding in a log. Make it aggressive to his tank mates, not female. Guarding around the log. She only comes out to eat, and I just got her last week. I'm not sure what the help you need. That sounds like what convicts do. They breed all the time. They're territorial, but they can handle their own. I don't know what the tank mates are, but that's kind of convicts' MO is like make more babies, guard at any cost. My clown pleco is huge. His or her abdomen is swollen, and the diet is wood, rapashi bottom scratcher, and Hikari algae wafers. I plan on getting green beans tomorrow. Is there anything else I can do? You could also feed some frozen brine shrimp. The shell, the roughage on that is going to work as a laxative as well. And then just make sure your nitrates are as low as they can be. If your nitrates are elevated, sometimes they'll hold waste in instead of releasing it. Also, some water changes sometimes will want to make them release. And so you could try that if you haven't already. Let's see here. How do you get rid of dark green algae that nothing will eat? David, my guess is you're describing blue-green algae, which is also cyanobacteria. If it's like a sheet and it's got a weird smell to it, erythromycin is what takes care of that. But without seeing it, I'm completely guessing, But if you tried a lot of different algae and they won't touch it, you're kind of describing it. What would a good 10-gallon pea puffer tank look like? What substrate, decoration, filter? How many puffers? 3 puffers, so many plants you can't see the puffers, and a sponge filter. Substrate, kind of irrelevant. But yeah, really, if you can't see the pea puffers, they can't see each other, they're not going to beat on each other, and that would be like the ultimate scenario for them. Just got 10 new pygmy corridors along with 6 harlequins in my 10-gallon. 3 have died and some are flashing. Not sure, just added them 2 days ago. Treatment, parameters are on par. Well, my standard thing would be, if you just got them, how long? 2 days ago? There should be 3 sets of meds in there. I would put in erythromycin, Icex, and General Cure. And it's just because so often things are coming in dirty, whether it's from a store, a wholesaler, something like that. And, yeah. So I would recommend those 3 meds in conjunction. And, you probably have some external parasites. Most likely, for at least the Corydoras, are going to have some internal tapeworms. But you could kind of clean all that up at once. Is there such thing as too many water changes on a plant at 55? Yes. Only 5 mollies. My plants are not thriving, even with ferts. Definitely. Like, you only need to change water if you're getting elevated nitrate levels or elevated hardness or some parameter is elevated more than you want it to be. And so, like these 2 tanks behind me, they literally have never had a water change. Never. Like, yeah, they've only been set up for, what, 3 months now or something like that, but, you know, we've got tons of shrimp babies in that one. I actually need to put in a little bit of water because it's a little bit low. And then these guys never had a water change. I did take a little bit of algae out of there. There was a little bit of hair algae growing. I pulled that out. But as long as the parameters are good, you shouldn't need to change water. And then, so my next question would be, what fertilizer are you using? If it's something like Seachem, Flourish, and that's all you're putting in, your plants are going to starve to death for not enough nitrogen. Basically, Seachem Flourish is made like you're a typical fish keeper and you have way too many fish, your nitrogen's through the roof. And in that scenario, 5 mollies and a 55 is not that scenario. So you might be having a problem there. If it's mine, just keep your nitrates at about 20 parts per million. And then, if you got a decent light, you should be making plants. Favorite water conditioner? My favorite is Hikari, or Aquarium Solutions actually, Ultimate. It's got stress coat in it. It's got KH buffering. It'll lock up ammonia just like other things will. And that's just my favorite one because my water needs more buffering capacity. LG3 Nation, nice jacket. Well, thank you. I actually fell in love with this jacket. It's the second one of these I've had. And ordered it in from... Oh, actually, no. This is my older jacket. So this is my Columbia jacket. But I read a different one this time. This is the one I just had sitting out here. Let's see. Corey, the guppies I got from you were great. Breeding them now, 7 tanks deep. Well, good. I'm glad you got them. It makes me sad that I don't supply more, but I don't miss those Tuesdays where I had to ship. It was a nightmare. So, but I'm glad they're doing well for you. Any tips on breeding rice fish? I keep seeing eggs, but no fry. You gotta either separate the eggs from the parents with like spawning mops, or you need to do it in a much bigger thing and maybe get green water going. With green water, they won't really be able to see the fry hatching, and you're going to increase the odds. And then a tip that I picked up at the saltwater fish room, try floating bioballs up there so the fry can live inside them and the big fish can't get to them. Is there any major difference between thinner leaf Saswassertang and the thicker leaf? Yeah, usually one's going to be Pelia and one's going to be Saswassertang. They're slightly different, but to the average person, they're the same thing, honestly. Best plants for bettas besides moss balls? I would say Anubias and Cryptocorns. Yeah. Phoenix 24/7. Oh wait. My bad. Phoenix Planet Plus, not the 24/7, or Ray 2, 55-gallon, 21-inch, getting low to medium light plants with CO2 nutrients, and it will be filled with dirt. If I had that aquarium, I would put a Ray 2 on it. If I was buying a new fixture, I like the Ray 2s a lot. They also tend to hold up better than the normal Planet Plus. The normal Planet Plus is good too, but the Ray 2... from the ones I sold, which I sold a lot of lights, just held up better. How much flow is enough for a group of Hillstream loaches? I'm planning on doing a Matin filter type, 400 gallon per hour pump, and a 40 breeder. That'll be fine. They don't need a lot of flow at all. They appreciate it, but they don't have to have it. So any amount of flow, really. Stephanie Morris with the $5 super chat. Have I ever kept banjo cats? What is the best food for them? And are they... Oh, you are great at what you do? Hashtag Taco Union. All right. Speaking of which, I'm going to answer that. But speaking of which, my custom aquarium ornaments are supposed to arrive, I think, on Wednesday. So I'm going to get them up on the website as soon as I can. But watch them like a hawk, because they're probably going to go fast. But yes, I have kept banjo cats. I think the best thing to feed them is live blackworms, so they can feed at night, because they don't really want to eat during the day. They're really clumsy, and they're an ambush feeder, like an ambush predator. But otherwise, frozen foods like bloodworms and brine shrimp. You could also do like earthworms if you got a good source of earthworms, or red wigglers if you want to get that culture going. Let's see here. Would 60 watt, 6000 Kelvin LED floodlight along with Flourish Excel be adequate for growing plants in sand? Do I need anything else? Pancake Jake, it sounds like you need to do some more research, because Flourish Excel is an algicide. It wouldn't actually help your plants grow. You'd want to be using like fertilizer like nitrogen, potassium, some phosphates, trace elements, that type of thing. And in general, it's harder to grow plants in sand than other types of substrates. But yes, would that light grow it? Totally. And if you kind of watched my Plants 101 series, you would know that almost any light's going to work as long as you pair it with decent fertilizers and decent substrates. But yeah, you can totally make that work. Is Pelia the thicker or the thinner version? Off the top of my head, I don't remember, Roma. So I'm not sure. Don't forget to like the stream and hit that notification bell. Oh man, that was a good weekend. Going to be a mad dash for the bug bites. I don't know what that pertains to, but I believe it. Well, can I keep dwarf growings with Geophagus winemilleri? Depending on tank size, I would say probably, Michael. Yeah. Test results show some ammonia and nitrite in a 10 gallon with a pair of rainbow Apisto vehida, also known as the redneck Apisto. Did a 40% water change earlier today, barely lowered levels. Soonest to change again, or just use prime and stability. So let's see. So some ammonia, if it's really low, I would let the tank cycle through it. And that's like 0.5 or lower. I would just let the tank digest that with prime and stability. If it's higher than that, I would change more water. Just because above 0.5, it does more harm than I'm willing to let my fish go through. Whereas at 0.5 and lower, it does barely any harm. And it's really good to let that tank digest it and just get caught up. But definitely cut the food off while it's doing that. Do I live stream frequently? This is my first time checking this out live. Not frequently. Lately, I've been doing it a little bit more frequently, but typically I do it every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific or 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's see. Oh man, the question is, when will Corey himself try a bug bite? Do it for the fish. I don't know. I'd have to think up something pretty crazy to happen. Like maybe at someday I'll do like a bug bite sale, and if we sell out of bug bites, which I would have a lot in stock, I would eat some. But you guys would have to buy it all. Let's see. Best goldfish to go with a single tail goldfish and best substrate. If you're looking for a little bit of variety, Brett, I would say shabunkins. If you want to get fancier, Bristol shabunkins. You could do Wakens. You know, there's some other, fancier stuff. Best substrate for goldfish, honestly, it's probably sand. Maybe a little bit of coarser sand. I do crushed coral a lot because I like the buffering capacity. But I'm not sure that's the best. Like an aragonite sand is probably the best, honestly. How can I raise my pH with a home product? Steve, you could use baking soda, but a little bit goes a long way, and it's not the way I would recommend, but that's a home product that would do that for you. Michael says, Fluval 306, 406, or an FX4 for a 55 gallon. If it was me, Michael, I would see which one was the best deal, but most likely I would do the 306, because I find that a lot of, like the difference between a 306 and a 406 is one tray, and I doubt I would ever put a tank so close to max that I would need an extra tray like that, and I could probably save a decent amount of money. But like if there was a sale on them and they were close in price, if it was only $20 more, sure, I'd get a 406. If there was a 75 gallon tank, I would tell you like, just grab yourself an FX4. I like that filter. How do you treat Popeye and goldfish? Lots of water changes, and then if there's no plants, you can use salt at 1 tablespoon per 2 gallons. Otherwise, use some erythromycin with a lot of water changes. Make sure water is great first, and then do the medications. Can I do a turtle tour? Not today, but I do have a fish room tour where all the turtles are in it coming out soonish. Can I show you baby turtles? Nope. I've got my... Well, I mean, I can show you the setup where they're not hatching. You know, well, not... I'm just saying none are hatching right now. But down over here, there's all the turtles, or all the eggs, but we're still waiting for either some to break through or something like that, but that's where they are. And the baby turtles, they're, gotta get this camera fixed now. There we go. The baby turtles, they're way over there, so don't have a long enough camera for that one. Let's see here. Where can I get giant Malaysian river prawns? I have one, but want more. I don't know of that. Like, I might know it by a different name, but I don't know the Malaysian river prawn, so I'm unsure. I don't know where you'd get that. It's hard to ship invertebrates around sometimes. Hey, Corey, I'm about 3 weeks into my fish in cycle. My nitrite is 5 ppm. Ammonia is 2.5. I don't have any media in my filter because I'm using the Marineland BioWheel. Do I keep waiting? No. Change water. You need to get those down, buddy. I would say... So, if you're doing a fish in cycle, I would recommend no parameter except for nitrate ever going above 0.5. So, if you have those parameters right now, I'd be wanting to get the ammonia to 0.5 and the nitrite to 0.5, which means I would probably do a 50% water change for like the next 4 days straight. Because 50 will be at 2.5, then you'll be at 1.25, then you'll be at 0.75. 3 or 4 days in a row, 50% water change, and I would not feed. Don't feed the fish. And then once you get to 0.5, don't feed and let that tank cycle through that. And that's how you want to cycle that tank. But right now, 5 parts per million nitrite and ammonia of 2.5 is pretty harsh on the gills and the, a lot of the organs on those fish. So I would highly recommend changing some of that water, yeah. How do you make your guppy give birth faster? About the only way I could help you with that, Nerf Mania, is turn the temperature up. Higher metabolism, faster we grow. Do Lucipinus breed the same way as Petricola? I've been looking online and haven't found anything on Lucipinus because they're known as dwarf Petricola. Yeah, as far as I know, they're all people are gonna have the eggs drop into marbles and then collect from the marbles. But yeah, should be the same. When is your prediction for the next Turtle Watch? I don't know. I've been looking over here quite a bit, and I just haven't seen any movement or anything lately. Not that I've been watching it like a hawk, but if I see one start to break out, we'll go into full Turtle Watch 2017. My camera, I just noticed it's like off some more. That's probably more, right? I don't know. Good tank mates for red rainbows that use the bottom 1/3 of the tank. I would say Corridoras. What would be better, dwarf chain loaches or yo-yo loaches in a 30-gallon planted? Dwarf chain loaches for sure. When Corey never sees my questions, feels bad, man, but keep up the good work. I still love you. Had that been your question, it would have got answered right there. The problem is, how many people we got participating right now? Like, I already have to slow the chat down. 616 people, roughly. If you guys all ask a question a minute, that's 600 questions a minute, Even if it's one an hour, that's 600 questions an hour. And, like, one time someone counted how many questions I could answer, and it was only, like, 93. I can do 93 an hour. So the odds are just stacked against me. Odds are stacked against you guys. The only way to cut through, and I'm not saying you have to do this, because I'll answer, as you see, I answer lots of questions that aren't super chats, but a super chat of like $3 or more gets it to the top, I think. I know $2 doesn't get it up there anymore, and I think YouTube changed that, but that's the best way. If you got a question that really needs to get answered, you throw it up there. Otherwise, leave a comment or email me. I get to as many as I can every day. And I can say that honestly, that I might not get to all of them, but I guarantee I am answering an insane amount. What food do I recommend for guppy babies? You could use my fry food. You could use Hikari fancy guppy food. You could use frozen cyclops. You could use powdered rapashi food, crushed up flake food. Any of those work pretty good. I want puffers, but not something that gets too big, too fast, or something too small. Well, that pretty much puts you out of the game of puffers unless you want something that's aggressive that, it's going to need like a 40 breeder. Do dwarf chain loaches eat snails? They do indeed, yep. Thank you for telling me to use Ikex. No problem. Once I find a product I like, I have no problem telling people about it. Have you guys heard that I love tacos? Because I love tacos. Are blue Galeris Achilles compatible with paradise fish? Tank is a 90-gallon. In a 90-gallon tank, I bet you could pull it off, Franco. Yeah, they compatible diets. I would definitely have like cover in there for sure. Yeah. Would catappa leaves produce ammonia, or would the bacteria living on them consume most of it? Well, the bacteria that's consuming a catappa leaf doesn't necessarily convert. It's going to be nitrobacter, right? I can't think how to say it, but yes, decomposing leaves would be a source for waste, which could be ammonia. So yes, that could be contributing to it, Devin. What do I feed my Corridoras? I feed them, lately, it's been, today what they eat. They ate frozen brine shrimp, frozen cyclops, and the first meal of the day was my micro fry food. And then yesterday, I think I fed them bug bites. But I try to mix it up all the time. Let's see. How do you do the super chat on here, Angela? Well, hopefully you're not on a Mac or an iPhone, because they won't let you do it. But there's, right where you typed in that chat, there's a little dollar sign. You can click on that, and that'll prompt you how to get through there. Let's see. Thanks for answering my question, Corey. Awesome store, man. Gonna order a 2.0 light from you soon. Hey, I appreciate that. Every light helps a little bit more. We don't make very much money on the light, but it does help for sure. Corey, I made a taco bar for you. I'm coming over. That's all I heard. Self-inviting to taco bar. Sumps being used for a heavily planted tank, good or bad? So think of a sump in a heavily planted tank like adding water volume. Is that good? Yeah, probably. Is it needed? Depends on the fish. Most of the time, I find I don't need them, so I just don't use them. Because most of my planted tanks use small fish, and I don't want the small fish and end up in the sumps. Breeding Senegal bichers, that's a fish I've never bred. And I've never bred any bichers. And I've never really even studied it that much, because it seems like a lot of work from the few readings I've done. How can I get rid of assassin snail infested tank problem? If you cut off the food, Nico, eventually they'll assassinate each other. Is Hikari first bites a good food for most fry? I feel like most fry, that part of that question is a little bit dangerous. I feel like it's too small for a lot of types of fry, but then for like tetras, rainbow fish, rams, that kind of stuff, like, yeah, it would be good, but like most livebearers, it's kind of too fine of a food. So, Drew says, I'm making a planet tank. If I only have Anubias, Nana, Java Moss, and Fern, and I tied all the driftwood, also, do I need ferts? If so, what do I recommend? P.S. Are hatchets hard? So you could attach it all. Do you need ferts? In my opinion, you need a little bit. You can get away without it, but you'll get a little bit of deficiencies going and all those things, and they'll still be a lot. But they might not look their best. If I'm going to recommend one, shameless plug, I recommend Easy Green because it's my own brand. And our hatchet fish hard, they're a little bit hard because they're all wild caught. They only want to eat floating foods. But otherwise, I don't consider them to be that hard. It depends on how well your store you're getting them from takes care of them. It's alleged, with the $10 super chat, Corey, are you familiar with ostracods? I mean, I know what they are, and I've had them. I have tons of them in every tank that doesn't have fish in it. They've been eating up food I'd rather the shrimp eat. Recommendation for eradication. So I would treat it like I've got a duckweed problem or something like that. I would be putting my noodle on it going, all right, what fish would love to eat ostracods but would be the worst at eating my shrimp. And that might be like juvenile guppies, not adults, but juvenile guppies. Most baby fish, you might be able to find that, like, and it depends on the ostracod you have, because some of those ostracods, like, their shell is actually pretty crunchy, and so you need a little bit bigger of a fish to be able to swallow it. But you might be able to do like Brigitae rasboras, lampi achilles, clown achilles, any of those nano rasboras. And what you might be able to do is just like either A, use some baby guppies or something, or those rasboras, and like put a group of 5 in there, let them sit there for like a week or two. Ostracods are just eradicated, and you have the happiest rasboras or whatever it is in the world. Then you move on to the next tank, and eventually you'll hit the end of that rainbow, and you'll have eradicated it from your fish room, and you'll be good. Most likely it came on with a plant, and you know, why don't we see them in other tanks? Well, fish normally eat them, so it just happens to break out in shrimp tanks. And if you've got any other pests like planaria or something like that, guppies will work at that for you. But I find a lot of the rasboras and stuff, they won't go after the tiny, or they won't go after the bigger stuff, only the tiny stuff. So, all right. Is a taco a sandwich? How dare you? Obviously not. This guy, is a taco a sandwich? Oh, man. Difference between guppies and endlers. Mostly their name, and now guppies are like more line bred for colors, but a wild-caught guppy and a wild-caught endler, to the average person, same thing. Let's see here. My guppy fry absolutely love Hikari First Bites and are growing faster than before. Well, good. Glad to hear it. How should I hatch my killifish if my house is cold? I would use, I would heat the water. If you had a big tank, you could put a Tupperware bowl and let it float around in there. And by that floating around in there, it'll keep it warm, and still you can keep an eye on the eggs and feed them in a highly targeted manner. Do I know how to breed peacock eels? I don't. That's a tall order. I don't know that one. What kinds of fish are good to do in a silver tub outside in South California? You guys have got good weather, better weather than I have. So lots of livebearers can do it, but then Florida flagfish, Apistogramma borelli, probably a lot of the goodeids, probably some other stuff as well. Michael says, visited Greg Sage during the AGA convention. He set me up with some swordtails. How will they do with my angels when they get bigger? They should do okay. I mean, assuming aquarium is a suitable size and that type of thing. Let's see here. I happen to have juvie guppies right now. Well, perfect. That should work out for you, Ledge. Just move them over, let them do the work. They're going to eat like a king, and then move them back out. Oh man, I gotta get to the end of this this taco debate here. I keep seeing comments, but I want to see his comments. Where are they at? Is a taco sandwich? Oh, and then Joel. No, wait. Joel said it's more in the chip family. Oh man. Is it weird to be eating fish right meow? Definitely not. I would eat fish right now, right meow, if it was offered to me. In fact, the first time I set up my first aquarium ever, I was eating fish as I did it. I didn't have any fish at that point, but I had to show him who's boss. Let's see. Ooh, Nisi helped me out. Yeah, we've got the goldfish package on the website, which is basically a package full of plants that are unlikely for goldfish to eat. That being said, some goldfish will eat anything they see, just like I'll eat any Mexican food I ever see. But most of them will do okay with it. We can't guarantee anything. We can only give you the best odds. My tank is cycling with fish in it. The levels are 0 nitrite and 0.2 ppm ammonia and 5 ppm nitrate. Are those good levels? More or less water changes, 20 gallon, moderate planet. I would say, Drew, just let it keep going. What's going to happen, like in a perfect world, in my opinion, the ammonia will go to 0, and then the nitrates will go to 0, and that means the plants will have consumed all of that for you. And then you can start fertilizing a bunch and getting it going. Hi Corey, love your channel. I'm a fellow Washingtonian. I have 2 Penguin BioWheel 350 filters on a 75-gallon tank. What are some good types of media that can improve my tank? Ceramic? Yeah, ceramic would be fine. Sponges would be okay. The biggest improvement I think you can make is sponges on the intake. And I think Jimmy right now is probably editing that video. At least that's what he was when I talked to him before I went live. And I show you guys how to adapt and everything. Because I know a lot of you guys have questions like, it doesn't fit on my thing. And I try to explain it through email, and it's really hard to explain. So I made a whole video on it. And for the rest of you that either know how to do it or don't want to do it, you're going to be like, this is the worst video I've ever seen. But it's going to save me hundreds and hundreds of emails a month. So, but an intake sponge I think is the best thing you could do. And then either bio rings or sponges or something like that. Some kind of reusable media back in the back of the canister filter. Let's see. Not to bring up a sore topic, before I can tell, by definition, a taco is a sandwich. Depends. Are you going by the Aquarium? That's right, Aquarium Co-op Dictionary? Because last time I looked, that was not the definition of a taco. And that's the one I go by. So if we play Scrabble, you better believe it's the Aquarium Co-op Dictionary. Let's see. Would you reject a taco if I gave it to you and called it a sandwich? 100% yes. Out of principle and everything I know to be true in life, I would have to. Like, once you break that ripple of reality, my whole life unravels, so I'd have to. I've got a 55-gallon tank, and I made my own driftwood waterlogged, and everything I put in it on the left side of my tank, and my fish are afraid of it and stayed on the right side. What do I do? I would say just give it time. Eventually, they'll find their way. How can I deal with my city changing the water pH randomly? That's a bad place to be in. I would say storing your water at least overnight in a tote, and then making sure to see if it fluctuates after that. If it doesn't, you're good to go. If it does, then you just need to store water and test it regularly, unfortunately. Have you only seen red teacup platies, or have you seen them in multiple colors? I think I've only seen the red teacup / fireball platies, so yeah. Oh no, it looks like Nick K has gone insane. He's talking about soft tacos like they're a thing. Someone check in on that guy, make sure he's still alive. Hi Corey, I love your... Oh, I read that one. Oh no, I better scroll down. Let's see. Meow, I have a very pressing question. How many tanks are you running right meow? Right meow, I'm running about 62 in my fish room, and at the store, I think I'm about 100 right meow. Can you say reasons fish to die? Most likely, it's improper environment, and that's usually water parameters, the food we're feeding, temperature plays a role, but usually it's human error that's causing it. How to get rid of blackbeard algae? I would start with Siamese algae eaters and Florida flagfish and a monoshrimp, an entire army of them, and that would probably do it. Let's see here. If you eat a sandwich, it becomes sideways becomes a taco? Clearly not. Sandwiches typically are not crunchy, and I've already established the minimum entry of a taco has to be a crunchy shell. Now, we can go into a side tangent here. Sandwiches clearly are improved with chips on them. And if we really want to get down to brass tacks, like nacho Doritos are really good on a sandwich, but also taco flavored Doritos are even better. But I would say anything that's got that like triangular shaped chip is clearly an improvement on a sandwich, because I don't know that I've ever had it. I think I've had it once, but I'm pretty sure adding Cheetos and things like that, or Bugles, that is not an upgrade to a sandwich. But if we're getting down to, sandwich ethics here, chips, clearly an improvement. And by the way, it's like a crunchy taco. You got to eat it in a timely manner, because soggy chips on a sandwich, worst thing ever. Yeah. Let's see here. Fair enough. I will refer to the Aquarium Co-op Dictionary from now on before asking. Well, I'm glad we could set that straight, and now I totally need to have an aquarium co-op dictionary made, because that would be awesome. Do fish regrow tail fins? So they do, Storm, as long as it's not down into the caudal cartilage. So that means like right at that thick part, the peduncle of a fish, which is that thick part of the tail. If it gets down past there, usually cartilage won't regrow, but anything after that usually will regrow in good conditions. What's my opinion on silver arowana? A lot of people love them. I think they're a bit overrated, and I think for me to truly enjoy them, I would have to live in a country that had tropical ponds, and I think I would love them as a pond fish. I don't enjoy them in aquariums because usually our aquariums are way too small for it. But I do like looking at them like in a public aquarium where it's ginormous. Ooh, we can rest assured, according to the Huffington Post, a taco is officially not a sandwich. Well, finally, we have a credible source to back up my theory. Oh, man. What temperature do I keep my fish room? Do the tanks stay the same temp or a bit lower? They stay a bit lower. I keep my fish room colder than I do the store. I keep my fish room at about 76 degrees. Well, that's what the heater's set at. And then my fish room actually stays at about 80 degrees. And my tanks are anywhere from 72 to 78 typically, depending on what row they are on and what part of the fish room they're in. Let's see. It's so funny how we change from fish to tacos. I love your channel. Thank you. I like that I can reel it back in, though, too. Because I know that, too much taco talk, no good. A real Italian sub with sour cream chips in it, I'd eat it. Well, back to sandwiches here. One of my favorite sandwiches is bologna. And I'm not talking, I'll eat, store-bought bologna. But I'm talking, real butcher shop, real deli bologna that's, not sold because it's the cheapest meat, or it's actually expensive. Real bologna is kind of awesome. I love it. And I think it's because it's a different taste, and I love the fact that people think I'm a freak for eating it, and yet other bologna connoisseurs know what's up. Let's see. David says, why don't you keep any tiger barbs? Well, David, I would suggest tuning in on Thursday, and you'll learn Corey's got tiger barbs. And in fact, Corey just got another 150 tiger barbs for himself today. So now I'm at 175 tiger barbs. Is it a good idea to feed mealworms to my fish? As long as they're dead, you could do that. But if they're alive, I've heard horror stories of them burrowing back out of a fish. So Heidi's Fish Tank, which by the way, she's got a fish channel, and I saw her video today. Well, I didn't watch it today, but she had a whole fish meme going on with the fish police. And but anyway, she's asked to go. I'm meeting with a trainer at the gym. I would so much be rather watching fish videos. Wish me luck. Thanks for the live stream. Well, when you start working out at the gym, make sure you download the podcast. Pellets or flakes for fish? I think it depends on the fish. But if I had to choose only one, I'd probably choose flake food. Yeah. Corey's live streams always end up making me hungry. That's because I'm always hungry. My wife, well, she probably just got off work about 3 minutes ago, won't be home for another 30 minutes. And I'm starving because I'm not the worst cook ever, but I am the laziest cook ever. Faux show. So I just wait for her because she makes good food. And then she comes home from work, she's tired, and then I beg her, come on, please, I'll starve to death. And she usually gives in and makes me something. So, otherwise, we'll go out. I'd rather work, clean tanks. I'd rather do any kind of work than cook. And so I have no problem buying food when I don't enjoy that, but I do enjoy working. So, any chance you would start showing the viewer aquariums again? Clyde, that video came out just like 4 days ago. So yes, maybe you're not watching all the videos, but one came out on, it was either Saturday or Thursday. Fried salami sandwich? Never tried it, but I would. I had salami on my pizza a few days ago. Do I need anything else for live plants besides Eco-Complete and an LED hood? Probably some fertilizer, but it depends on the plants. How big of a risk are blackworms? I don't find them to be that big of a risk. And I think if I pulled out any number, it's just me guessing, like, oh, it's 17%. 17% compared to what? You know, I don't find them to be that big of a risk, and I find the benefits to be quite big, though. But yeah. Once cycled, bristlenose pleco and 6 hatchets. What middle column swarm would be good? Also, what to feed the hatchets? Scape java ferns and mosses. Can plant roots be glued? Yes, they can. And I would do, if you've got hatchets and a bristlenose, I would do Rasbora hets. I just think that would look cool. And I would feed the hatchets flake food and freeze-dried bloodworms. Because both those have a long hang time. They really don't want to eat mid-water, so you got to keep it up at the top. Old T12 lights from a hardware store, an okay source to grow low-light plants? It can be done. The problem is, like, the plants you buy right now will be used to higher light, but we used to do it 30 years ago, so it can be done. Just know that you're probably going to get a lot of melt back, and then they'll come back. Let's see here. Can I keep a betta with long fins, with neons and shrimp? Maybe, as long as the betta doesn't hunt them too much, but yeah, probably. And I should say at least a 10-gallon, at least. You know, don't try to shoehorn that into like a 2.5. Anyone got good sites to order blackworms from? The only place? Yeah, the only place that's really going to have good ones is going to be California blackworms. Do I prefer sand or gravel, specifically for cichlids? I prefer in between, so like a coarse sand. Let's see. Is it okay to feed them earthworms? I don't know what them are, but probably. Earthworms are okay. Here for the dogs. I remember you from the business live stream, which we do on the other channel. Yeah, we'll talk some more business soon, buddy. Hey, Corey, if I make a giant order, would you ship it international? So, JLE Aquatics, you'd have to email Kaylee at aquariumcoop.com, and then you'd have to promise her, and I do mean promise her, that you will pay the shipping. Because we get this email once every 2 days, and they go, if I order a ton, will you do all the legwork? And then we go, sure, yeah. And you're willing to pay the shipping? And they go, yes, I am. And then they go, yeah, okay, so shipping's going to be $172. And they go, well, I'm not paying that. And it's like, well, we told you it's going to be at least $100 to ship it. And so, you know, yes, if you're willing to pay an insane amount of money, we're willing to do it. But if you're not, just please don't waste your time, because people do it so often. Like, oh yeah, I'm willing to do it. And then we tell them, and they're like, how can it be that much? And they're like, I don't know, that's just what it is, all right? Like, if we could ship it cheaper, we would, but we can't. So, yeah, send the email directly to Kaylee at aquariumcoop.com, and, you know, you'd have to have a pretty big list, because $172 shipping or whatever it's going to be, if you're only ordering 2 shirts, like, it's not going to make it, not going to work. So, you know, and don't order heavy things, don't order sand and rocks, like, that's going to be $1 billion to ship. But yes, we'll do it if people are actually serious. And if we keep getting burned on this deal, we're just going to we're going to stonewall everyone and say no. Because it so rarely works out when people are like, oh, they actually did what they said they were going to do. Oh, good. So, it's not that we don't want to supply you, it's that, you know, we can't waste a lot of time. Yep, it's past my bedtime, Joel knows. Can I have a tank with natural sunlight most of the day with live plants? Adding flourish is too much on top of the sun? No, you'd have to be adding fertilizers. Like, if you're going to add direct sunlight, you got to feed them really well. So, I would say you probably need either a ton of flourish with flourish nitrogen, potassium, and phosphate, or something like the Easy Green, or another type of fertilizer. Am I sleepy? Do I look tired? I'm not tired. I'm hungry. I'm real hungry. I've mostly been eating... What did I eat today? I ate hummus Thai coconut curry and chips. That's mostly what I have for breakfast. Oh, like brunch, I had bean and bacon soup my wife made me. So yeah, but I'm hungry. Which, I'm leaving in 5 minutes, by the way. 5 minutes. That's where I got. Summer tubbing series coming soon? Probably. I'll start working outside more and more. I think that started sneaking its way into some of the videos by now. Did you know that in order to destroy ick without medicine or salt, you have to raise the temperature of your aquarium up to 23 Celsius? That's only for the strains that are weak to heat, which most strains aren't weak to that anymore. So 20 years ago, yeah, that worked awesome. But now, now that most of the fish are coming in from overseas where their temperature is at least that, the ick that comes with them is already resistant to that temperature. So, how popular is shrimp at your store? I'm not sure how well they sell locally. Haven't had a local fish store since the earthquake a couple years ago. I mean, we probably sell like 150 shrimp a week between like Amanos, cherries, velvets, that type of thing. So probably about 150 a week. I don't know what that's in comparison to other places, but I feel like we do pretty good. My recommendation on supercharging Fluval U4 internal filter. Yeah, I haven't hot rodded that one much yet, but I would think the cartridges, I would take those out, and then I would make sure I'd optimize the plastic thing that holds bio rings, and I would probably cut some sponge where the replacement, like fine polishing pads go. What I do like about Fluval products in general, they're pretty optimized, and so you can't do that much to make them that much better, but you could optimize it that little bit more. Yeah. I mean, I suppose I could make a whole video, and technically I wouldn't mind hooking up an air pump to the bottom jet where it jets out water and making my own Venturi system, so that way the bubbles came out much lower in the tank and rose up, so I get better dissolving going on. But it would be quite a bit and not really super easy plug and play like the most hot rodded stuff I like to do for people. Let's see. Hi, Corey. I'm wondering if it's possible for you to live stream with other people like me. I don't have expensive software. I'm 15 years old. I have a good mic and phone. Is it possible? Is it possible? Technically, yes. Is it likely? Maybe. I get hit up real often, and I kind of decided it's actually way less stressful and easier for me to do them solo. And so I do them every once in a while because people like to see me collaborate with people, but it's way nicer for me to be able to just be doing my thing, like, oh, I'm live in 15 minutes, let me sit down and do it, as opposed to like hosting someone and then, making sure everything works okay and then things start going wrong and then, so yeah. Do I have a sizing chart for my shirts? I don't. Corey's low light packages causing me to get more tanks. I'll take that as a compliment. Got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. What is my favorite type of aquarium shark? Redtail, rainbow, bala? I think if I had to choose favorite shark, shark, quote unquote, I would pick a rainbow shark. And I really do like the albinos for some reason. Yeah. CO2 is a product of photosynthesis, which means during daylight pH is higher. I have to do some brain thinking on that. I guess I'd have to do more research, but off the top of my head, when plants are photosynthesizing, they're releasing oxygen. When they're not photosynthesizing at night, they're actually creating CO2. And so, like during the day, pH would be higher because there's no CO2 in the water, but at night, pH would be lower. And in our aquariums, the reason why typically during daylight we have lower pH is because we're injecting CO2. But I have to do some brain thinking on that and really go, okay, let me think about how this ecosystem is going to work and how we're interacting with it. But yeah, as a product of photosynthesis, I don't know if that's true. D&H, thank you for being the beacon that started the Fish Fam. You're an inspiration, an educator, and a role model. Love you always, man. Well, thank you, Dean. Hey, you're educating. You're an actual teacher, so I'm just in front of a lot of people at once. That doesn't make me any more special. In fact, I would say this a lot. The people that do what I'm doing or teaching someone that have less people in front of them, they're putting in way more effort for less gains. So like a one-on-one teacher is far more noble than someone like me that's in the limelight of like a ton of people. So, oh my god, I just slept through half the stream. It's 11:16 p.m. Well, don't worry. I put myself to sleep too, buddy. When I gotta listen, like, that's why on my other channel you see my banner is me sleeping with a computer. That's me listening to my own audio, trying to make sure that it's decent and we didn't like edit a part out or like, oh, that went on for too long, let me cut that down. And so I put myself to sleep all the time. How can I kill leeches in my planet aquarium? I would use flubendazole is probably where I'd start. Besides Corey's, what are my favorite catfish? I would probably choose a giraffe catfish. I love those things quite a bit. Before the live stream ends, hit the like button. Alright, I concur. Please hit the like button, it helps me. Or if you hate me, hit the dislike button, that'll work too. If you got questions after the fact, leave a comment. Yeah. Ooh, I like the iridescent shark. I've kept iridescent sharks. They were fun. Although, I don't think I have any aquarium that would ever be big enough. I think they need like 20 plus feet in every direction because they really like to bounce off walls, kind of like baller sharks. Will Star Organic Repens make a good carpet for my 65-gallon tank? Yeah, Jeremy, as long as you got enough light to punch down, and they really like CO2. It can be done without, but they really like having it. What is the tank behind me? I've got a 75-gallon tank and a 20-gallon tank. We've got guppies, and we've got yellow shrimp, which, when you guys see the update, there's babies in there. Oh, and I'm fried. I've gone 2 minutes too long. Alright, we're going to wrap this up. And, yeah. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. I'll be live again on Sunday. Video tomorrow. Nothing on Wednesday. That's just a drought. And then video on Thursday, video on Friday, video on Saturday. So, eventually I'll get Jimmy, and he'll just be a hamster on a wheel 24/7. We'll get videos out on Wednesday, too. But that's hard for me to do. That's 7 days a week. That's a little brutal. So, alright, well, if I didn't get your questions, let me know through email, that kind of stuff. If you guys would like, you can buy stuff from our website. That's pretty cool. I do enjoy that, and we enjoy shipping it out. Keeps Kaylee in a job and a lot of my other employees. And, yeah. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow in the video.